welcome everybody to the Hoops Rehab Show on a terrible Monday night for the Los Angeles Lakers. How you doing, Eric?
Doing pretty good, man. It was such a really good weekend of wild card football. Obviously to cap it off with tonight's game, and then a disappointing Lakers kind of part of the season. Play-in, is that kind of what we got ourselves getting into now? The play-in? Oh, man. That's
playoffs?
Playoffs? Play-in?
Shit.
Can you imagine?
Those Texans, though. Those Texans, man. Those boys are bad on defense.
Yeah. I like to call them my Texans. Although I have the Bills going, but I was just – I don't know what's going to happen in New England, of course, but just something about that team. I'm like, man, they got a formula to win in the playoffs, and it's just all about CJ Stroud does. Obviously, he made some really bad mistakes tonight. I think against a better team, he won't get away with it. But that defense is badass. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So tonight we got a huge Lakers talk. We're going to recap the game, talk about some things they could probably do on the trade market. The LeBron patch we got to get into, and we got a special guest coming up on our not the next episode, but probably the episode following. You guys will be really surprised by it, and we're going to get some people on the show, and then in this new year. So this will be the first guest. But as always, everybody, I am the Game Injury Doc, aka Dr. Evan Jeffries. On my right is Eric B. Mack. We are the host of the Hoops Rehab Show. You can find us at our YouTube. So if you're on the YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button because we got a lot of content to go over. You can also find our pod wherever you get your pod. It is the Hoops Rehab Show. All right, Eric, let's get this cracking. So we knew it was going to be an interesting January, especially with knowing that Austin Reeves was not going to be playing pretty much the majority of January and early into February. So we knew that going for it. We knew there's going to be a lot of games against teams that are below 500. We know how the Lakers have been playing the last 15, 16 games.
Yep.
What do you make of tonight? And are they going to get through January without having, maybe being a few games above 500 if they play this way?
Yeah, I think the couple of things are just, the injuries and just the kind of rapid pace of the season now is just starting to catch up to them. And so we'll see if it's just a little bit of a roadblock or a kind of a blimp in a long season. Well, that remains to be seen, right? All teams kind of go through it. But for about a month now, the Lakers have been kind of on this trajectory. And so that is not good to see. Obviously you play Giannis Milwaukee Buck team on Friday, and even though they're under 500, that was not going to be easy, and so you lose that one. And then you play the lowly, I think 9-30-ish Sacramento Kings, right? I think it all came to a head tonight. It's just a little bit. I was gonna say it's a little bit too much LeBron and Luka, but I guess they don't have a choice right now, and so those guys are kind of putting up some numbers, but I'm sure they are asking for help, which they really have not been getting. So it's a rough patch for sure, man.
Before I get started with these Lakers, if you guys are in the chat right now, either the YouTube or Twitter, hop in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling about the Lakers. Let us know if you have any questions about the NBA in general and any injury concerns. But hop in that chat so we can kind of get answer some of those questions as we get going in this show.
Yep.
It is the Luka and LeBron show for the Lakers right now, and we got a bunch of other guys that are absolutely doing nothing. It's hard to win in this league when you just don't have the supporting cast night in and night out, right? You might get a game where, Jake LaRavia has 20, which he did. He had back-to-back 20-plus games. And then now I would say the last couple games he's gone for a couple points here and there. His shot's been off. He was put in the starting lineup and for Rui, right? And it just last couple games hasn't really been effective. And you can't expect him to be that guy that's getting you 20, but you do want him to get somewhere in between that 10 to 15 if you're going to be a starter. Then we got the other starter right now is Marcus Smart, who we know how he plays on defense. We know what he's going to give you. He's going to give you hustle, the grit. But you can't have a starter get you 1 point in a game.
Yeah.
You just can't. I think he had 1, 2, and 2 tonight. Like, we have to have more out of him. And that's why he's normally just coming off the bench, but he's thrusted it into this role because Austin Reeves is hurt. Rui's hurt, right? So, and there isn't anything besides that. Like, Gabe Vincent has not been playing well. He's been injured most of the year, and he just hasn't been playing well when he's out there. Don't connect. You can't rely on him. And then whenever they throw a lineup of Jackson Hayes and Jared Vanderbilt together,
forget it.
Okay, Eric, I saw a lineup. It was Jackson Hayes, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Luka, and Jake LaRavia. And I was like, I remember in the beginning of the season, the first game of the year against the Warriors, I said, you cannot play Jackson Hayes and Vanderbilt together. But because of injuries, this is what we got. I don't know, Eric.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just inevitable when you do have the injuries they have. Obviously, with Austin and Rui, that you're going to have just some weird, quirky lineups out there. And so, I don't know, man. There's some teams that are just probably have just as many injuries, just kind of still getting it done. I think it obviously depends on your opponents and things of that nature. But that being said, yes, I think signs are bad when you start needing Marcus Smart, obviously, to do more than kind of what you got him for, right? But it is what it is. He's throwing in the starting lineup. He's got to throw up more than 1 point. But I just think when you get to that point where you kind of need something like that from a Smart, from guys who are just not used to doing it, or at least at this point in their careers, when you start depending on that game to game, these are the kind of things that happens. And so I think we've kind of known this all along, but I just think the Lakers' depth is really starting to show, or lack thereof. Guys are just starting to get the minutes that they wouldn't normally get. And sometimes you think that could be good, right? Could be something like good for towards the end of the year once everybody's back, right? Maybe something that they can kind of like take these minutes and really use what they've learned in later in the season, I guess, if you will. But at least for now, Luka MVP talks he's putting up the numbers, but if they're going to be a 6-7 seed, it ain't going to happen. Not that that's the most important thing, but it would be cool to see. Because, he's just dropping 35, 40 in his sleep. But are those games and points leading to victories? As of late, no. And so that's like another thing too. And so, yeah, it's a lot of questions, not a lot of answers, honestly, that I can give. It's just kind of wait and see. Got to pick up some W's while you can. Wait till Reeves and Rui gets back and see if they make a trade.
When are we going to start talking about JJ Redick?
I was going to, and I
saying,
was like, let me leave it to you, because I was going to.
I'm not saying that we're going to blame JJ for everything right now, but I feel like when he goes into the press conferences, he puts a lot of the faults on the players, which is understandable, right? Like I get it. You've said you've played these players. He knows players have lost assignments. He knows these players aren't playing hard, all that stuff. So they're not playing hard for you, right? There's players that he doesn't trust on this team, right? So we're getting to a point where it's like, is he losing some trust in some of these players because of what he said in the media, right? And is his style of coaching, which is obviously kind of more aggressive, a little loud, kind of get in your face type of coaching, are they just tapping out a little bit and not listening to him as much because their defense has just been atrocious, right? They just haven't been a good defensive team pretty much this whole season.
Yeah, I think JJ we can kind of see at least in the pressers and just kind of knowing how he was as a player, and it could be like a disciplinarian type, and maybe you kind of need that like structure and things of that nature. It's not a bad thing, but I can't say that tactically, whether if it's defensive or offense, that I have really said, oh man, that's got like JJ Redick written all over it. Oh, he made that like amazing, drew up that amazing play at the end of the game, or oh man, they like are just so great on defense because of the head coach. And I feel like good coaches or solid coaches really are like where it's obvious that they're a good coach when you got players that are out and they just still find like ways to win. And they did a little bit of that early in the season. Don't get me wrong. There was games where, I think there was games where it was LeBron and Luka out and Reeves, right, that they won, and games you don't expect them to win, and it happened. Don't get me wrong, again, but I was thinking about that, like. Again, we'll see what happens as he's still a very young coach. He's only been a coach for not even a season and a half yet. But it remains to be seen, like, what is JJ Redick's offense? What is his defense? What like kind of fingerprints is he putting on this team where we're like, oh man, that's a well-coached team. I hate to say it. I don't want to get into that because like I think they got to give him a chance to obviously see where it goes, and I'm sure they will. But hey, it comes to a point, right? Like you just mentioned, somebody had to say it. Is there tweaks that need to be made there? And I don't mean from like a head coaching perspective, but next year, right? Do we need to get when the Clippers got like Jeff Van Gundy, right? Their defense like 180 on defense. Not saying they did anything, but still they played a lot better defense. So if something like that need to happen, obviously can't happen this year, but something to keep in mind for next year.
Yeah, I think having somebody that's a defensive-minded head coach, maybe
they have some guys there,
assistant coach. I mean, they do, but for some reason, it's just not sinking in, or maybe they don't have the personnel, right? That could be a little bit of both, right?
Could be that.
But Lakers are 4-7 in the last 11 games.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go to home and play against Atlanta on a back-to-back. Likely LeBron won't be playing. It's another game for Luka and the others.
Playing a young, fast, right, team.
Yeah, you got Atlanta they got rid of Trae Young. So whether you want to call that baggage or it was affecting the locker room, probably. And so now they're young and free, able to play. You have a veteran like CJ McCollum coming in. And you got Jalen Johnson who's playing out of his world right now for Atlanta. So that's not going to be easy game for the Lakers on the back-to-back, especially likely with LeBron probably not playing. So it's getting a little bit interesting. I feel like we've done this over the last 4 or 5 years with the Lakers. When we get into December and January, they're playing pretty bad. Trade deadline happens. Either they make a trade, they kind of turn that around. All that negative energy going into trade deadline is turned into a positive, and they kind of head into the finish line doing well. Hopefully that is this year, and hopefully this bad streak does not continue as bad as it is over the last 11 games. But I don't think this team will be truly the team until they get Austin Reeves back, which is likely not for another 3 to 4 weeks or even more, right? We don't know how long it's really going to take. So is there anything right now? Well, I think once January 15th happens, you can kind of trade for pretty much everybody in this league. There's also going to be the buyout candidates. Is there a buyout candidate? Wink, wink. You know what I'm going to talk about. That could effectively help this team, or a trade target do you think the Lakers can really, really entertain and help this team right now?
I think with buyout, it's hard to say because we don't know what trades are coming. And so once a trade comes, it's always a bit of a surprise where they're kind of a throw in, like a vet, and they go to some kind of bad team and you're like, okay, that's going to be a buyout. So I'll kind of leave that to
there's maybe
there's
one guy out there. I don't know. Would he be effective on the Lakers?
What has he been doing? Is he on a farewell tour himself, right? Which I know we'll get into in a second.
Chris Paul, but in my opinion, there's been some rumors about that. I don't think that does anything for this Lakers squad. Could he be better than maybe Gabe Vincent coming off the bench? Possibly, but maybe not, because he didn't look like he had anything left in the tank when he was playing for the Clippers early in this year. What do you say?
Yeah, I think it's about, what would it be at this point? 15 years too late, because I think it was 2011 with the notorious trade that didn't happen. And so if it happened 15
really
years.
2011?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Going into the
that means he was pretty damn young. Jeez.
Yep. Think about it. Like almost basically, yeah, it's probably more like, 14 years ago or so. But yeah, for what the Lakers need, I don't think they need an aging, point guard. Not to, obviously he's had a great career, Chris Paul, and I feel like the years that he's been successful, the last handful of years, have been him being on a young team that just with not a lot of expectation, right? So like when he went to OKC, when he was on when he went to Phoenix at first, right? When he went to, even with San Antonio last year, playing all 82. But as you can see, when he went to the Warriors, it just didn't work out. Those are just the last handful of seasons that I could think of. And so I don't know, I would like to see him go somewhere so he can kind of finish out his career like he should, get a chance to, being a future Hall of Famer and great player. But I just think it would just be kind of a dog and pony show. Like if we're bringing him on, maybe we'll see. Maybe it could be for LeBron. Are we really going to have a double going farewell tour? If it's that, then we could just forget trades and all that, because that's all we're doing this season, right? Which, if it is what it is, if that's what it is, it was like that with rest in peace Kobe's last year, then so be it. But yeah, as far as that goes, buyout, I say no to Chris Paul. Will it happen? Highly unlikely, but if it does, what could we do?
Yeah. I don't think I want to see that. I wish we would have seen it sooner. I just don't think that relates to what our problems are right now. Our problems are we don't have enough shooting. We don't have enough athletic players to play defense. And currently right now, it's just the LeBron and Lucas show. So we just need more depth in that way. For me, if I had one of those like a trade target that might not be talked about just yet, but could be a big player for the Lakers, just because I think defensively he would bring a totally different element to this team that we're missing at the center position. And he can shoot the three. And there were some rumors that once Ja Morant is traded, Jaren Jackson Jr. is next in line to be traded for Memphis. So to me, getting a player like that, yes, he does have a big contract. He signed until about 29-30, I think. He's going to be making really like 49, 50 million a year. However, that's kind of like a lower number in the grand scheme of things of how these contracts are going to be. So his contract's not going to be that terrible.
In a few years, yeah.
In a few years, right? And then if you have LeBron, say, coming off these books and all that stuff too, right? So I think that could be a possibility of a person, like if I was going to make a really aggressive trade, I think he'd be a perfect fit, because I think we know what we're getting out of DeAndre Ayton. Like tonight, he was on the court, but he wasn't noticeable.
No.
Yes, he had 13 boards, he had 13 points, but many times throughout the game, you're just looking like, what is he doing? He's kind of rolling to the basket. It's not really, doesn't look like he has the energy. I saw a thing on Twitter that LeBron was staring at him at the bench because of missed assignment and things like that. I just don't think he has that motor, and we know that. We saw he was really energized at the beginning of the season, and then as he stopped getting the ball as much, his energy has dropped, and that's affected his game, right? Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't really need the ball in his hand, right? He can shoot the three, and he plays defense and doesn't really care if he scores a lot, right? But he's effective on the court. That would be my big time trade if we're going to do that. But other than that, they just need to get some 3-and-D players.
Yeah, I think I mean, I guess I think with Luca and Triple J, I think it would be a nice pairing. A question though, like, would you be willing, or you Lakers will probably have to part ways with like what Austin Reeves in that trade? Is that something you would kind of, if Lakers, let's just throw it out there, Austin Reeves, Rui, and first round pick. You think that's a lot for him? Do you think that's what Memphis is expecting?
I think the problem there is if you have any chance at Giannis, then you have to keep Austin Reeves, right?
There you go.
If you can get this trade, I don't think the numbers work this year unless you're trading like Rui, Vando, and some picks. And like maybe somehow the numbers work where you could get him. I would have to kind of look at that. I'm not sure if that's possible. But probably not, because LeBron and Luka make so much on this team, as well as Austin still makes a decent amount too. So that would be the hard.
Might be a summer trade.
That would be hard. I think it would be one of those, like, if you have no chance at Giannis, then that makes sense for this Lakers squad to get somebody like a Jaren Jackson Jr. It's hard for me to want to part ways with Austin Reeves unless it's like a Giannis. So that would be kind of like my thinking there.
Yeah, I think Lakers and the Lakers brass and just the through their NBA like channels, and I'm sure they kind of know if there's any realistic shot at certain players and things like that. And so somebody like Triple J, I don't know. I think it's just. Oh, I mean, I was gonna say you never know, because what happened with Luka is just like could be a one-off, but never say never. Now that we went through that. But that could be something that's more of like a deal in the summer as well. And I say that just because of the whole like matching contracts and all that. And we're not going to, get into the salary cap and everything, but that just could be something that could be a challenge. But yeah, he would be solid. I was reading that, when you think about like the New Orleans Pelican boys, right? Those guys that were definitely, some guys there the teams probably want. Chris Haynes was saying that they will not be trading the likes of Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Derek Queen, right? So it looks like they're kind of standing pat. Obviously, we'll see if they're playing some gamesmanship or if that truly will happen. But they must like their young core there, that they're going to kind of stick with them. So yeah, I mean that leaves Andrew Wiggins for this year, if they want to go maybe on a run or like help them go on a run this season. That is still floating around. Other than that, it's just going to be lesser type players that you hope you just get the right mix, and sometimes that ends up being the best thing for you. But we'll just have to see it, to be honest.
Yeah, I know Jaren Jackson was making a little less this year, so about $35 million. So technically, you could get it done with some of your players. I just did it in the trade machine, and it worked. But, I think his salary would obviously go up starting in the summer because of the extension that he signed. So that would be something that you could work out in the summer, where you're like, all right, now I can either, you're getting LeBron off the books, you figure out what you're going to do with Austin Reeves, and kind of work those contracts that way. So I think it could still be done, possibly this year as a trade. But also, I mean, the Andrew Wiggins is something that I think we've talked about all year, and I think it's something that would benefit this team and something that we would highly need to consider, because they just need another bona fide defender and scorer, and Wiggins is that type of player.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think with we've talked about many times with the Lakers, it's like the deals that you always hear about. There's just the ones that rarely happen. Yeah. It's like those under the radar, just like bam, out of nowhere. You're like, oh shoot, that just is it's always been the Lakers' MO, for years. It feels like, other than maybe Pau Gasol was kind of talked about before. But yeah, we'll see kind of what happens. But I think something will be done on the margins. We'll just see if it's going to be kind of like a big time trade or not.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's get into this LeBron patch that was introduced tonight.
The patch around the world.
If you guys haven't seen it, it's LeBron giving his his famous chalk toss in year 23. So he's going to be wearing this on his Laker jersey starting tonight against the Sacramento Kings, which is his first team that he ever played ever. Yep. And he's going to wear it the rest of the year. And after every game, the patch comes off and goes on like some Topps cards and stuff like that as collectibles. So Eric, when you heard this, what was your initial thought?
Well, I don't know, right? Like why not do it year 22 or why not wait till year 24 potentially? We know that, I mean, it's not, I'm not a genius by saying, you know, the end is near, but just little subtle signs. What I was looking for, looked at the schedule. I wanted to see when they play at Cleveland. So hear me out. At Cleveland, January 28th. Does he announce that this will be his last season in Cleveland? Thoughts?
I think he announces it right before that. So that going into that game, it's like, this is my last game in Cleveland. I believe I got to look at the schedule. Do they have Miami still on the schedule as well later?
Yeah, they still have to play at Miami.
I'm trying to think of when it is.
I thought they already played Oh, no.
They play at Miami already? Because that would be interesting if like they still have those two on the schedule.
Oh, wait, I was looking at the wrong teams.
There we go. Let's see.
I think they played home against Miami, but they still got to play.
Yeah.
That's on March 19th. So,
right. Yeah. So you got the teams that he's played on at Cleveland and at Miami still on the docket, right? So we've talked about LeBron retirement plan and all that stuff. And for me, I always thought he's going to check and see how his body feels. And it was something, if he is going to announce it, is going to be in early 26 before the All-Star break. Because obviously you want to recognize him at the All-Star game, right? I think hearing about this patch is upping the ante that he's going to retire this year. I know the year 23 is amazing because he's number 23 and nobody's ever played 23 seasons. Yeah, I just don't see if it was just he was doing it this one game because it was at Sacramento or something, but he's wearing it for the rest of the season. That means every game's going to be that like memorable, right? This is a collector item. Why would you just be doing these games, right, as your collector item? So I think this, in my opinion, is it for LeBron. I think we'll hear an announcement at some point in the next few weeks, at least before the All-Star game, because you got to recognize them. And the All-Star game is in LA. So,
yeah, I feel like this is the very first year that it is definite. Like, I guess it could have been possible the last couple seasons, but this is the first year that it is definitely possible. And I think he's probably like, it could be where he's not leaving it to chance, where if he does, like, say he's not thinking that he's gonna or he doesn't know yet truly, and then he ends up retiring and he's like, oh man, I never really did anything for my retirement year, right? So at least he's kind of doing this in case he does. And I think part of it too is, look, I mean, I don't want to say forced out or anything like that, because I know a lot of teams would love to have him, but in terms of, all right, so Lakers didn't extend him, so he's going to be a free agent. In terms of him signing for a team at like a premium dollar, where there's probably only a handful of teams that even have the space to sign him, I don't know. Like, he's probably thinking, shoot, I don't even know if I'll get what I probably deserve, because wherever he goes, you know, he's going to kind of like generate a lot of money, right? Or more money. And so I think it's like a little bit of everything. Like, he knows the end is near. It's possible that it's this year. He's very calculated, so obviously it's been thought about, him and his team at least, that it would be at Sacramento for that patch. And as you said, he's going to play at Miami, still at Cleveland in a couple weeks. The All-Star game is in LA. I know that Crypto is not hosting it, but it's still in LA. So does he announce it then? A lot of opportunity too. But yeah, I would say this could be it. Or I think it will be it.
Yeah, I'm sure he has some decisions to make, and there's probably he's leaning towards one way versus the other probably now, and there's something that we won't know until it officially comes out. But just based on how he's playing this year, he's been playing well. He does look a little bit older, right? But he's had games where he looks ridiculous and looks like the all-star that you've always seen in LeBron. I just think physically, from what he's been saying, like, I got to see how my body feels. What do you think you're going to get out of this old man? I know the end is near soon. Like all this stuff that he's been saying, father time and all that. I just think that it wouldn't make sense to continue, right? Like if the Lakers just kind of go out in the first round this year, I highly doubt he's going to go to another team with an actual championship chance, right? Unless he signs like a minimum, signs with OKC or something like that for the minimum. Like, right? Is he
gonna really do that? I doubt it, right?
Yeah, and he's not going to do that. And like, even going back home to Cleveland, we thought Cleveland was going to be this juggernaut this year. They're like 500 and a couple games above, right? So that could be possible for next year, but I just don't see it, man. I think he's playing so well this year that if he went out like this, that's what you remember him by, and you never really ever saw a drop off. Like realistically, you saw maybe, he looks a little rusty, but he can still physically jump out of the gym. So I think, think about just the longevity of everything. He's done everything. He's broken the records. He broke the all-time season record now. It's number 23. He is 23. It just wouldn't make sense to go at 24 when you look at all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and for him to go out, like, let's say, like with this season, which now we see the reason he started off slow is because he didn't get a training camp and didn't get a beginning of the year. And so he's kind of starting to pick that up. And if he can kind of go out with that productivity, like he probably doesn't want to wait till he's a shell of himself. And he maybe is a little bit, but it's I would say the only thing that would ever happen is just him coming back to the Lakers on a team-friendly one-year deal. But I think he's just I don't know. I just think both him and the team are just over that. It's kind of not saying it's right, but he's just not that beloved like here too, which is crazy. There's a lot of people that love him, don't get me wrong, but there's just a lot of people that don't. And I'm sure he feels that. And so if it was like a situation where, most Laker fans wanted him back, he probably would like, hey, maybe I'll kind of like pay cut in terms of like being able to sign other guys. But I mean, what's that going to do for him? So
yeah, you're right. You got it right on point there. Cause Kobe was around. This was Kobe's team. He was beloved by Laker fans. I mean, people grew up with Kobe. LeBron, even though he's been here for a long time, he doesn't have that loyalty, even though he's been with the Lakers for a freaking long time, the longest tenured time he has been with the team, right? Like consistent, concurrently, right? But there's some people that are tired of LeBron. They don't want him anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's still that crowd. And then you got people that just appreciate his game and obviously love him for who he's been on this court and the amazing talent that you see every night. So it would be really awesome if they can go out on top with a championship. I just don't think they have the roster right now to do that. Could they make a move that can tweak things, get Austin Reeves back healthy? Yes. And I think they're going to have to do something because this NBA season, I think there's a chance for anybody. Even OKC is obviously one of the top, but they can be beaten. And San Antonio's kind of showing that right now.
Yeah, sometimes it's good when you have like when it's up in the air. And so at least there's like, even though Thunder is still going to be big favorites, but somewhat up in the air to at least make like, let's say the conference finals, right? And when you get to the conference finals, you're just like, hey, we're here. We may as well try to go win the damn thing, right? But when there's also so many teams, you could easily go out the first round too. And you can have a real tough opponent that first round. And if the ball bounces your way and you get the right opponents, you can get there. But I'm just thinking about like LeBron and like a long playoff run too. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, what happens with LeBron. We'll see what happens with this Laker team. We'll talk. Obviously, we'll see in a month. By February 12th, we'll have probably a better idea of things. But yeah, in terms of LeBron, we'll see. I'm kind of just been thinking about that January 28th at Cleveland. Look out for that.
I like that. Yeah, I can see the announcement coming shortly before that.
Yeah, right before the game or something.
All right, everybody. So that was our quick Lakers talk tonight. We have some exciting news in the next coming shows. We're going to have a NBA reporter on. We're going to talk all NBA, talk about the Lakers. We're going to talk about some injuries as well, just kind of like what's been going on in this league, why are there so many injuries, and kind of get it from a reporter side. So can't wait for that episode. We'll let you guys know when it's coming out, but we are stoked to have that going on. So
yeah, I mean, obviously when we started this, like the goal was to kind of just come on here and talk injury, talk ball with you guys. But the other goal was to finally kind of get some different perspectives and get some guests on with kind of some tenure in the league. And so can't wait. It's going to be super exciting and can't wait for everyone to see it.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. So the Hoops Rehab team is out tonight, but we will see you guys soon. Take care.
Sorry, guys.
Peace out.